Hey everybody, welcome back to WCNI, New London, Connecticut. Also, Reaper Radio. The band Green Carnation has a brand new record coming out on September the 4th. The conclusion to the grand trilogy, A Dark Poem Part 3, The Messiah Complex. And I've got Kjetil of the band Green Carnation on the line to talk to us about the record, the trilogy, and pretty much whatever else comes up. Kjetil, how are you? Thank you for taking time out of your day.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure. I'm good, thank you. It's one of the last days of summer here in Norway, so I've
Yeah.
actually been on a 4.5 hour boat trip at the sea, and yeah, I'm feeling very good, thank you. So I'm looking forward to talk to you.
All right. Well, as we get into this, you're a couple of weeks out now from this conclusion to the Dark Poem trilogy. How does that feel? I mean, are you excited? Are you nervous? Because I've heard the conclusion now. I've heard the third part, and obviously I've heard the whole thing now. So uh, how do you feel? Nervous, excited? Any of those emotions?
I'm most certainly quite excited to at last be able to share the entire trilogy, like the last part of the trilogy, with the rest of the world. This has been in our lives since 2018 when we started working on the actual trilogy, and we were actually finished the recording. The band recording was finished in 2000 or December 24, and the orchestra recording in June 25. So it's been there for a while. So of course it feels great to be able to share it with the rest of the world. But I wouldn't say I'm nervous at all. We have been quite open that probably that this last album in the trilogy will also challenge people, like we like to challenge ourselves, and by doing that we challenge our fans as well.
Hmm.
Luckily, we have people following us that are up for a challenge, so I'm not too nervous about that either.
One of the things that I'm sure you're going to be asked about this a lot, and one of the things that stood out to me listening to the third part of the trilogy, and we'll just hop right into it, is the conclusion, the
Mm,
end, the orchestral suite.
mm.
Quite a leap forward for yourself and the rest of the band. I mean, obviously in part two you had some flute on there, but I mean this is a full. But people, when if you get a chance to listen to this, and I'm talking to my fans here, uh, if they get a chance to listen to this, this is quite unlike anything I've heard on a metal record before. So talk to me about that. How did that come to be, and why conclude this with an orchestral suite?
Yeah, there's many different reasons. We did a letter of intent with that symphony orchestra already back in 2017. And
Hmm.
in that letter, it said that we wanted to cooperate on a recording and a concert. And then we didn't really have uh, any plans. So that letter just that was just there on my desk until we started working on the concept of what was to become a dark poem. And then I remember that, okay, this is a huge project for us, 3 albums recorded in one go, being released within 1 year. Um, the size of the project kind of did like made me think that this is of course the project where we're going to top everything off with using an entire symphony orchestra. But we did think about maybe one of the albums should be kind of the band with an orchestra behind, or we did play with a lot of ideas. But I have been working quite a lot with classical music the last few years, and I often think that the cooperations with bands in, of course, different genres, but also rock and metal bands have a tendency sometimes to be a wall of sound from the band, and then you hear something in the background, but you cannot really hear the details and stuff.
Mm.
So we decided to use a symphony orchestra in the most clean way a symphony orchestra can be used, and that's by playing symphonic music. And I cannot say that I have heard too many bands putting themselves on the sideline for a thing like this. But we did make this. We made the composition. Obviously, we needed help in order to orchestrate and arrange everything into being possible to play for classical musicians in an orchestra. And we decided for the orchestra piece to be the conclusion. It's a little bit like to honor some of the prog bands in the late 60s and early 70s that sometimes commented on their own music in a different way, you know? So
Sure.
that's also a little bit of the motivation for us. And for people who've heard through the first two and a half albums, they would probably recognize some of the melodies coming back in the symphony.
Sure.
Not even sometimes it's not even the melodies that's the most important melodies. It could be like a string melody behind a vocal line that takes all the attention. So I think that people along the way, when listening through the trilogy, they would probably also discover new like musical references in the symphonic parts to the rest of the two and a half albums. And yeah, we just thought it was a perfect fit for a extremely ambitious project for us. And of course, also, if you haven't heard the two first album and you go in and just listen to this, it would be a kind of a strange album. But I
Mm.
think it makes perfect sense taking into consideration that it comes the last out of three albums.
I feel like of these records, each of these albums could stand on their own.
Yeah,
Is that something that you were trying to do? Because I mean, they're three really different records.
yeah, that's been important for us. And we wanted, and I said it in the interviews for the first album, that we wanted the part one to be an album that you wouldn't feel that something was missing when you had heard through the album.
Mm.
And we wanted also the second album to be like that, but also to make sense if you heard the first album first and then the second. So it was a lot of thinking around this. And then, of course, with the third album being so different, I've also said that you won't get the proper trilogy feeling before you've heard the conclusion, kind of. So
Mm.
I think probably we could have put one or two songs on different albums and it wouldn't ruin anything, but we're actually extremely happy with the way we composed the albums after having composed all the songs, because it wasn't like we composed album one first and then two and then three. We composed everything and then we put together the albums when it comes to, of course, music, but also lyrics. You would find the lyrics, the directions would be slightly different on all three albums, but it's basically about kind of the same big theme.
Mm.
And yeah, so yeah, it's it's been a lot of thinking. If I compare to my previous works with Green Carnation and other bands, I don't think I've ever been thinking so much about stuff other than, of course, the music. But I guess the size of this project needed some thinking in order to be as good as it turned out.
The title, The Dark Poem, and really this whole trilogy, what is this entire trilogy about?
Yeah, obviously, because you've heard it, it's you understand quite early that it's not a story. It's not a storyline that starts with something and ends up with something.
Sure.
Um, but we are dealing with the same kind of themes, I think, throughout the trilogy with slightly different angles and stuff. And that would be, I would say, a worry for not for losing control over your own life, maybe. That's one of the worries that go basically through the entire, because you cannot decide which ones of your loved ones who's going to stay there and which ones are going to disappear or die, for example. With me and both me and Sten Roger, we have lost. I lost my father in this process, and he lost his mother and his father during the process. And you kind of you get a little bit like I cannot really control my life, and that's a very uncomfortable feeling, I think, for many people. So I do think that is maybe the basic feeling that we have been trying to explore throughout the three albums, but again with many different. Also, you have your role in the world and where the world is going. So it's only both personal with your closest ones, and also a world that just develops in a direction and you cannot really do anything with it, and that makes it's a little bit about alienation, I would say, as well.
Mm.
Which and I do think that also after having lived for 50 years, you kind of get some new perspectives around many things. Some of the songs are about it's Stein Roger Sordal, the bass player, the one who I've written all the music together with, who's written most or all of the lyrics basically, and and he's also referring to many things in his childhood, and then maybe with a new sense of understanding when you grow up and you also have kids, and you see how you start worrying about your kids, and you understand that, oh, my parents probably worried like this about me as well. So it's a little bit of a mature, I think, way of seeing things. But sadly, I would say that that doesn't necessarily make you more optimistic, sadly. I wish it would be that, but yeah, so it's a lot of worry and alienation and perspectives around personal life, your inner self, your relationship to your loved ones, and your place in the world, basically.
Did you feel any pressure then, someone else writing the lyrics to this grand trilogy? Did you feel any pressure, trying to sing these lyrics in such a way that you'd get your point across?
Yeah, I understand the question really well. The thing with me and Stein Roger is that we've been working so extremely closely, not only for this trilogy, but also the album that came in 2020.
Mm,
Um, and also, obviously, before that, we played together we've known each other, we've been kind of best friends for soon 30 years.
mm,
When you get close to somebody, you kind of live through all the joys in their lives as well, and all the troubles in their lives, so when he writes a song about his upbringing, although I wasn't there when he grew up, we have been discussing this 100 times already. So
okay.
I know, and I kind of already feel it when I see the lyrics for the first time. Of course, we sometimes discuss about the lyrics while being written and stuff like that. So it's not like I don't feel like I'm performing somebody else's work. I feel it's kind of my own, although he's the one who actually wrote the words. I know exactly what he's talking about in all the lyrics, and I've been feeling his pain, of course, when his wife got a brain cancer, for example, and she was freshly off. Luckily, a quite successful operation when we started working on this, and he came into this, and of course, I know all about all the pain, of course, concerning this, and when he then comes with some lyrics to me, it's nothing new at all, and have already been feeling the same kind of feelings, in a way, if that makes any sense.
Sure. One of the things that I like about this trilogy is the fact that you had mentioned it earlier, all three parts coming out relatively quickly.
Yeah,
There's no space. I hearkening back to bands in the 70s that would put out two records a year. You're putting out two records this year. Part one came out late last year. So three records in a year. I like that. I didn't
Yeah,
have to wait,
no.
for part two. I was quite surprised when part two started showing up with the singles, uh, because I don't think I was really fully aware as to how quickly it was coming.
Mm.
Um, why not space it out a little bit more?
Yeah. We could also like the totally different thing would be to release all three albums on one day.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So, being a band that had released one album since 2005 or six, we did that in 2020. We thought it would be a good idea to be kind of have a long period where we're always there, because we are a band that needed to get back in people's minds.
Mm,
And as you say, you from August 25 until at least until September 26, you wouldn't have had a break from us. I hope that for most people is a positive thing. But yeah, we wanted Green Carnation to be in people's minds for a while, just to kind of to create some momentum,
okay.
and I think we succeeded in that. The interest from album to album has grown. And I don't think that would have happened if we, for example, released all three albums in one day. And of
Mm,
course, you could probably, I don't know if we're going to evaluate this because we're probably not going to do it again, but you could probably look on maybe one album per year could have been a possible solution as well. But you never know. I'm extremely happy with the way we did it because we actually managed to do what we wanted to do with releasing three albums in every 6 months, then, which it was, plus the singles, of course, a couple of
mm.
months before. So you wouldn't have more than a couple of months from an album to the next, or 3 months maybe until the next single. So yeah, and it's been three full rounds of promotion is been quite a lot as well. But having used so much time since 2018 on the music. I've just decided that we need to follow up 100% as well. We don't refuse uh, any interview requests because we of course want to share this with people. We use so
Sure.
much time already that that we use so much time already that it kind of makes sense to use a little bit more.
Every time I ask this of an artist, a lot of the answers range from it's hard to pick because it's like picking a member of my own family or one of my own kids.
Mhm.
But I was curious if you had maybe like a favorite track or a favorite moment from this trilogy, one that might stand out above the others.
Yeah, and that's been. I think this is a good sign, but it's been going from song to song, and I'm not gonna say all the songs, but I'm gonna pick up a couple that has been there that I'm gone back to, um, and it's actually the opening track of the entire trilogy, "As
Okay.
Silence Took You."
Yep.
It's the song that's kind of really close to how I want the song to be. I think I would have liked the song a lot if it was somebody else who made it, kind of, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
There is a few more, of course, but I would say right now it's the very last song with the band before the orchestral suite.
Hmm.
The Broken Souls, Common Enemies. I think
Okay.
that has some levels that, like, with the guitar solo, for example, that's kind of pushing up to being a very, very epic. And I think that will also showcase many of the best sides with the Green Carnation, that song. I could probably have said many others, but since you asked the way you did, I'm gonna stick with those two.
Yeah.
We were surprised actually when we listened through the last album, part three, how good actually we thought the three songs were with the band on, because you would have thought that you would use the best songs first. But of course, we in the process we wouldn't have said that we were happy with a song before it was as good potentially as we could possibly make it. So maybe it shouldn't be a surprise, but I also think the Messiah Complex, the song on part three, is also like a little bit of a standout song in
Sure.
the with how it sounds and stuff on the trilogy, and I really enjoy that one as well. And now for the last week, we have been rehearsing all the new songs for a big show we're gonna do in Kristiansand, our hometown, in for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So now we've tried out all the songs in a live setting as well, or not with an audience, but on rehearsal room, and that's a different task again. You have to you give the songs a different kind of life when you're going to perform it live. Studio is one thing; it's difficult enough, but you have other kind of challenges, of course, when doing it live. And we will have people from 22 different countries coming to Norway to see that concerts, and of course, they would expect, as they should, a very well prepared and drilled band. So we're kind of feeling the pressure, but I guess the highest pressure is what we put on ourselves, and it's also the highest pressure is the songs deserving to be played in a really really good way live.
You mentioned performing the entire trilogy live.
Mm.
Uh, Obviously, this is probably a once in a lifetime thing. With all just the symphony alone,
Yeah.
there is so many people. But uh, can you see a scenario where maybe at I don't know, maybe a festival, where you could perform everything minus the symphony?
Yeah,
I'm dreaming here.
yeah, yeah. But even like we have everything written down. So in theory, it would be possible to do it with the symphony orchestra some other time as well. I don't know if that's going to happen. Probably not, but it's a possibility if somebody wants to do that. But of course, we are going to use 26 and the rest of and like the rest of 26 and the entire 27 on doing dark poem shows. Some festivals you would have 45 or 50 minutes, and then we put together a set that would be as good as it can for 45 or 50 minutes. And then sometimes you kind of hire up and you play 1.5 hours, and then we put together, and there would be maybe festivals that would have, for example, I know some festivals in Europe that like are fond of, concepts, and maybe we could do album one on one day, two on the other day, and three on the other day. For like, there's many possibilities. But for us, like a dark poem era is at least until the end of 2027,
Okay.
and after that, we don't really know what's going to happen.
Uh, I was going to ask, you say you took, I guess, 5 years basically putting this grand thing together.
Yeah.
Is it time for a break?
We don't know yet. We haven't actually discussed that yet because we're still kind of in the middle of now, of course, approaching the end of the period of releasing the music.
Sure.
And the next period, 1.5 years, would be important for us in order to. It's still the same period in order to play live. Uh, and because it's been so busy with releasing music every now and then and doing
Mm,
interviews and everything, also rehearsing, we haven't really had the time to think about the next step. So we don't have a record label, like a record deal after this third album. So
okay.
because we did that, that was the deal we had with them. Um, so So we're open for, and I'm not going to guarantee that we're going to do anything after this, because we haven't decided that we're going to do it. We haven't decided that we're not going to do either.
Right.
But I'm sure within a few months or early next year, we will have the chat about if we're going to continue as a band, and if we are, what are we going to do then? You know, but it will kind of feel like a break when we only have, the live part.
I gotcha.
Kind of,
Yeah.
because it's been quite, I've no idea how many hours I've been using on working with all the other things as well. So at least I don't have to do that for the next 1.5 years, so that's okay. But yeah, I have some ideas, but I haven't really discussed it with the other guys yet.
One last question. I think you played the Prague Power Festival in Atlanta, Georgia, here in the States. I think it was 2016, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Again, dreaming here. Is there any chance that Green Carnation makes an appearance here in the States anytime in the future? Is that a goal? Is that a possibility? I know the cost of everything now has just skyrocketed, and
Yeah.
it renders a lot of bands from Europe unable to do that. So
Yeah.
I was just curious where your mindset is on that.
Yeah, I think, like, looking on our numbers, or and where we sell our music, where people are buying merch from, and the streaming numbers and stuff, the US is our main market. Of
Wow,
course, it's a big continent and everything, and if you gathered
sure.
all of Europe in one continent, you would probably have some good numbers there as well. But there's always been a lot of interest in Green Carnation from the US, and we did visit Prog Power US 2 times after 2016 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2000 and actually 23 and 25, I think.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, because we become obviously a member of the Prog Power family now, furniture almost. Um, and I offered them the possibility to be at the festival where we performed a Dark Poem Part 1, The Shores of Melancholia, 2 days before it was released last year.
Okay.
So we did that actually, and it's always a great thing. But I would absolutely say that it would be interesting for us to to do something in the US again. As you say, and we're 9 people traveling, and it's extremely expensive for us to have like a work visa, and of course the travels and everything. So it's got to be something that somebody believes in a lot. But yeah, absolutely, we could even do it with an orchestra.
That would be great. Kjetil, the band is Green Carnation. The record, A Dark Poem Part 3, The Messiah Complex, coming out September the 4th on Season of Mist Records. Kjetil, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us about the record and the trilogy. And who knows, maybe a tour or a spot show here in the States. Uh, please take care of yourself. Be well, be safe. And who knows, if you ever make it over here, we would love to come out and support Green Carnation.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your support, Dan. It means a
Oh,
lot.
okay. Take care of yourself. Be well.
Cheers.
All right. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.